Good afternoon, WICR, and welcome to Final Whistle. I'm your host, Kevin Walsh. Alongside me, David Giacomino. Dave, how you doing today?
Good, good. Busy day, busy day.
It's like Christmas. It's the NBA trade deadline has really not delivered these past couple of years, but today, an abundance of trades. I believe I looked at 11 trades, and only 3 of them came before the final hour. So, I mean, things happen at a rapid pace, so much to cover. We're going to start off today, actually, with what is kind of just a cool trade. Doesn't have a lot of playoff implications, but I think it's really nice to see. A personal favorite of mine, Kevin Garnett, headed back home to Minnesota. Just what are your thoughts on that move?
You know, it's a nice story. I feel like the Nets could have gotten a little more out of him because they're at the end of the Eastern Conference playoffs. They could have made a run with him. I don't know if Garnett wanted to go home, but it's a nice story. But I think the Nets could have used his defensive presence to try to make a run into the playoffs. But I know they're not going to go anywhere if they do get into the playoffs. But still, it's a nice story.
What I think is, though, because they got Thaddeus Young in return, and I feel that Young might be a little bit more useful for them. Garnett's experience, obviously, but at this point, he's not doing as much as he used to. You bring him to Minnesota, he's gonna have a couple fun plays. You'll see him with Ricky Rubio, and what I love though, he's gonna get to teach Andrew Wiggins how to be a winner. And right now, I look at this as a trade to help Andrew Wiggins become 10 times the player that he's already on track to become.
Oh, no question about it. There's no telling of what Kevin Garnett can possibly teach Andrew Wiggins. Kevin Garnett has one of the best mentalities in all time. His mentality is just like Kobe's, just like Jordan's. That he wants to literally kill the opponent.
Absolutely, he's done it before on picks.
If he can teach Andrew Wiggins that, then could be scary.
I love it. I really actually love the trade. I think it was very smart for Minnesota, and I think the Nets got a good piece out of it. I think it made sense for both teams. Now let's get into these blockbusters. There's a lot of rumbling about a lot of guard movement, and there were a couple big time guards who are all now in new homes. Goran Dragic, Michael Carter-Williams, Brandon Knight, Isaiah Thomas, and Reggie Jackson, all playing for new basketball teams. We got Dragic, now a member of the Miami Heat. Thank you. We got Isaiah Thomas also leaving Phoenix, going to the Boston Celtics. You got Brandon Knight filling the void, going to Phoenix. And then Michael Carter-Williams now adding to the outstanding length that is a starting rotation for the Milwaukee Bucks, who are actually at the moment the 6th seed, 7 games above 500. Who saw that coming at the beginning of the year? Right now out east. And then you have Reggie Jackson going to the Detroit Pistons. Very interesting trades all around. A lot of moves, a lot of pieces have been swapped. As far as those point guards, what do you think is the biggest deal, and what do you see the biggest impact being made by one of them?
Without a doubt, it's gotta be Dragic. Going to Miami, now they have a solid point guard. Last year he was one of the best point guards in the league, and this year he was very underused. Like he said it himself in the press conference yesterday, like he was just sitting in a corner, just doing nothing. And that's not the way he used to play. Now he's gonna have the ball in his hands a lot. And if D Wade has sit out his games, that will allow Dragic to go off and play a pick and roll with Chris Bosh. Pick and pop. He can be very useful in that system. But if you're the Phoenix Suns, why trade both point guards? You went from having 3 to now one solid starter. And why trade Isaiah Thomas?
Well, first of all, I think they actually addressed it with grabbing Brandon Knight back.
Yeah,
which did help.
Still, I don't think Brandon Knight is as a solid point guard as Isaiah Thomas or Dragic. I feel like no value, no return there.
I think I have to disagree, to be honest with you. I think Brandon Knight is an extremely long player. He can add defensive presence at that guard position, a Kentucky pairing at the backcourt. Brandon Knight's actually been the best player on the Milwaukee Bucks, a huge reason right now why they're 7 games above 500. If I had to pick one of them, I'm going to still take Dragic. I think the better passer, the better scorer. But I think to fill the void, it works. And I think it makes sense because now you only have 2 guards instead of this craziness that was 3 guards, which is the reason why Dragic left. Now, I'm being honest, no bias here. I genuinely feel Dragic makes the Heat a contender to make the Eastern Conference Finals.
I have to disagree with you that.
Just hear me out now, okay? Dragic is a player of not at that same level, but a Steve Nash caliber. And I'm going to be honest with you, one of the best pick and roll tandems the league's ever seen, Steve Nash and Mari Stoudemire. I think Bosch's versatility to step out and stretch the floor can make that pick and pop, pick and roll tandem deadly. You add in a Wade who now can afford to miss some of these games because now with the Heat are slated at 8th, you let Wade kind of miss some games, but Dragic is really going to fill a huge role for them. They can get themselves up, moving themselves up the ranks a little bit, get themselves maybe a little higher seed. But realistically, their job probably is just to avoid 5th-seeded Cleveland. In my personal opinion, you have Bosch, Wade, plenty of experience. Spoelstra, he's a 2-time finals coach, and I think that Dragic really could help this team make the push towards the Eastern Conference Finals. I'm not saying they're going to win it all. I'm not even going to say they're going to win the Eastern Conference Finals, but I think that they are now a contender of a team to get there.
I have to disagree with you there, just for the reason that, there's just teams that are better than them, and then still, if right now they're the 8th seed, Dragic will make them better. I think they'll move up from that 8th seed, but still, you have Chicago a 3 seed right now. They're not going to beat them. You have Toronto a 2 seed. That's the only matchup where all right, maybe they'll win in like 7, because Toronto was falling in the playoffs in recent times, and then you have Cleveland a 5 seed. So it's not even like they can jump up to and try to face a 5 seed, and they can't do that. But I think Cleveland's going to make a jump up. But I could see them winning a first-round matchup. I do not see them getting to the conference finals. Dragic will make an impact, but not the impact that will make them get to the conference finals.
I'm going to be honest with you. I think you have to really respect the Heat. That is a team that's been to the NBA championship the past 4 years.
Yeah, but
obviously it's with LeBron James, but it doesn't just wipe out all that experience. That is a team that knows how to get the job done, and you're going to see a lot, especially Wade, come playoff time.
Yeah, but I just don't think it'll be enough because, this is a different team than last couple of seasons. So it's not like, you can be like, they have the experience. Some players do, but not the leaders of that team. LeBron was the leader of that team, and without the leader of the team, they're a different team, and you can't.
But they still have leaders in Bosch and Wade. It's not like they're leaderless. They went from having 3 leaders, and then they had the leader with 3 in total, and now they have 2. And in all honesty, I'm telling you right now, Dwayne Wade is still the Miami Heat player.
Oh yeah, without a question,
the greatest Miami Heat player of all time.
There's no question they have potential. They do have potential. I just don't see them making a run to the Eastern Conference Finals. They don't have enough players to do it.
We'll definitely have to come see. I want to because we're gonna have one final team that I really want to talk about, but I want to say I love the move by Milwaukee to get Michael Carter Williams. This is a team with a lot of potential.
Oh yeah,
a lot of potential.
Very young team, lots of potential. Surprising everybody. Who would thought they'd be in the position they are right now? Even when Jabari Parker has missed some games with that too. So who would have thought that? So this is a very, very solid young team, and you have to love the story here.
Very promising. And also, I just want to I have to really talk about it. The 76ers somehow got themselves more draft picks.
I don't understand.
Dude, 5 years from now, this team is going to
I hope so.
It really could be stacked. You want to talk about building through the draft? That is exactly what Philadelphia is about to do.
Oh yeah, without a question. The amount of draft picks they have, and they've had top picks for the past 2 seasons. They have a potential to be very good. It's just they have to use these draft picks right. And there's they can draft all busts. They can draft all potential superstars. We don't know. And these past 2 top overall picks, haven't really. But so far, they haven't really been big.
But this is my thing: is when you have 9 first rounders, you're gonna hit at least 1 home run.
I hope so.
You know what I mean? Now the final team that I really want to talk about here is the Oklahoma City Thunder. Currently 9th seed. I'm expecting that to change in a huge way. You're going to have more of a healthy Durant with a healthy Westbrook come this second half of the year. They make the move to get themselves Enes Kanter, the 22-year-old center, who is going to add a nice presence down low for them, without Reggie Jackson. But I really feel like it's still the Oklahoma City Thunder. And what are you thinking if you're these other Western Conference teams, especially those at the top, knowing that, being the first or second seed could lead you to a first-round matchup with the Oklahoma City Thunder.
I'll tell you what, no one is gonna like seeing the Kevin Durant over there, and if you're a 1 seed, and if you're a 1 or 2 seed and you have to go against Kevin Durant, you're not confident. It's just that simple. You're not confident against Kevin Durant because he's capable of winning games by himself, and along with Russell Westbrook, they're both capable of. Like, we saw Russell Westbrook in what he's done this season. That's a very, very bad matchup for a top overall seed.
Which is why I really think it's very interesting, and I think that this trade deadline is absolutely crazy. I like the moves that a lot of teams have made, but I'm really looking at it, and this is maybe the most I've ever seen a trade deadline switch around playoffs.
Oh, without doubt. We went from not much going on to within the hour just trades, and it was just coming at you very quickly.
And I'm even going to leave it on this closing thought here. A little something that I really think is actually something to consider. The Clippers made no moves. They're hoping to pull at Kendrick Perkins after he gets bought out by the Jazz, which is guaranteed. Blake Griffin is missing an extended period of time. They were once around the 3 seed. They're now 6, okay? They have a little bit of an edge over Oklahoma City. But to be honest, the bottom 3 of 8, 9, and 10, Oklahoma City, Phoenix, and New Orleans, could make pushes for the playoffs. I think the Clippers have to get Kendrick Perkins, or they are running the risk of being bounced out of the Western Conference playoffs.
And it's the West. Like you cannot afford to have a bad week. Not even like
a week can change your whole season.
Yeah, not even a bad 2 week. A week can change everything, and you cannot afford that in the West. And they can go from being sitting in the 60 to out of the playoffs, like you said. And they should be very, very worried right now. If I were them.
Now I'm going to introduce a little new segment here called Overtime, which is just the final segment. I like it. I just made it up. I'm going to ask you, Mr. Knicks himself. Stat is a Mav. Prigioni's a Rocket. Huge deal.
Oh, yeah.
And Melo shut down for the rest of the season. You like the moves? You don't like the moves? Your thoughts?
Well, there's a plan behind it, so I do like the moves. You're obviously going for Okafor in the draft. If they don't get Okafor, it's a huge disappointment. And if they do end up getting Okafor, it will be worth it because once they shed more salary in trading Prigioni. So if they do end up getting Okafor, I will say it's worth it. If they don't, then the drop off from 1 to 2 is huge because we saw Okafor in even last night's game. He's just a monster to be reckoned with, and he's a problem, and the Knicks need him.
I'll be honest, I think obviously the best case scenario is them getting Joel Okafor. Someone, though, who no one is talking about just because he went overseas. He decided to skip college, wanted the money, similar to Brandon Jennings. He actually is dealing with a little bit of injuries, but his name is Emmanuel Mudiay. Great point guard, 6'5", really can score the basketball. If the Knicks get either one of them, I think it's nice. Outside of those top 2, huge question marks for the Knicks.
And this is all a wasted season if they don't get one of those guys.
It's already a wasted season, to be completely honest with you.
Not necessarily, because this is strategy. They clearly do not want to win games.
They had no choice, though. They got forced into this strategy.
And if let's say they get Okafor, that will attract. Let's say, they have Okafor now with Melo. Maybe I can go there and we can win some. We can win something. But it's a lot of ifs with the Knicks. A lot of ifs, and that's what it's come down to. This season, this whole timetable with the Knicks, it's a lot of ifs.
Well, we'll see if those ifs are answered. We'll see if the Heat make that push at the Eastern Conference Finals. Oklahoma City pull up a first-round upset. A lot of question marks. We're going to be addressing them, of course, throughout the season as it progresses. Until next time, Walsh, Dave, this has been Final Whistle. Thanks for joining us.